Okay, hello everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to the Eternal Cylinder stream. My name is Genesee from Good Shepherd, and this is Danielle, lead programmer for ACE. We're here to answer your questions and show you some really cool early builds of the game. So I'm very excited to see this myself. It's been a long time since I played the early stuff. So we're going to start, before we do that, with the answers to our contest. But first, Danielle, how you doing? Hey.
Very good, and you?
I'm good. I'm excited for this. All right, so our community contest this week was, what do you think the cutest creature is in the Eternal Cylinder? And it's a little challenging because the beta's over now, but you guys stepped up in Discord and gave us some good solutions here. So let's see which one you jump to first, and then we'll talk about it. So I think I know I'm going to say this wrong. Labus, I think, is the first one.
Oh,
Is that what you have up on your screen?
yeah, this is the. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know how to
And I'm
pronounce that
gonna
either.
guess, yeah, there's a little something above an umlaut or something above the A. So I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. But these are so cute. I think they're made of Primo, which is clay, and just they made all their little favorite mutations and their favorite little trebums.
Yeah.
So, which one's your favorite? I like the one in the back with the white and black stripes.
Yeah, I like the green cylinder one on front.
Nice. Okay, so that's our first place winner. And then second place, we have Mr. Mast, who did this really artistic kind of graphic solution for trebums, like hatching out of the egg, which is really cute.
Yeah,
I think
really
this is
nice.
like reminiscent of Spore. I don't know where they got this idea from, but it's pretty neat. Okay, and our third place winner, let's see, is over here with, you guys are funny because you call it leap tails, but they're fin fishes. Actually, let me get your, sure I have your name right here. Actually, that's Mr. Mast. Nio was the second one. Sorry, Nio, you were the one with the cool graphics, and Mr. Mast is the third one with this, as you call, leap tail fish, which is also a really cool solution here, and nice artistic little teeth there and everything. Good. Okay, and this one has nothing to do with the contest except that it was on Reddit, and I just thought it was hilarious, and we have to show it from WYSIWYG. So this is, I think when you play the game enough, you begin to see Trebum everywhere. And so this person definitely was seeing Trebum
Yeah.
in all sorts of crazy places, and this is their cat. This is their cat's butt. So there you go. Nice. Okay, and speaking of butts, this is a really important question that has come your way, Danielle. Carlos has given it to you. So this is by Proxy, who made a series of drawings with really important questions that they want to ask, which is, if the mathematician wore trousers, and this is a picture of the drawing of the mathematician,
Yeah.
how would they wear those trousers? So there's a couple different ways.
Yeah.
They have one on the little legs and one on the big legs, and they have jeans here. Yeah, so there's an option. So what do you guys think? Is that number one there is on all of their legs would be the trousers. Number two would be just on the little legs. And also, again, they want to know how they poop. This is up to you, Danielle.
I would say the first option, but that's
You
only
feel
my
like that.
opinion. Don't take it as an official statement.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's so angry, because he doesn't have any trousers. All right, so we're gonna jump now into the more serious stuff, the early builds of the game, and I will ask you questions that we've pulled from Discord you guys asked earlier, but please feel free just explain when this occurred and all that stuff. So go ahead and intro your
Sure.
builds.
So we'll start with the first build, which is the sort of technical prototype. And on an earlier stream, I said we started development at sort of the end of 2018, but I was actually wrong. We started around May or June 2018, and that's when this build is from. So the objective of this first build was mainly to sort of try out our infinite world systems, because the pitch build that we had was totally handcrafted, so it was like a really limited space that was done entirely by hand. So the objective of this first build was mainly to take the elements that we had in that pitch prototype and try to put them into an actual infinite world.
They've noticed that it's Endless Cylinder, which was the early name.
Oh yeah, you're right. Back then it was called the Endless Cylinder, and we had to change it for reasons.
Reasons, yes. All right, so I'm going to start asking you questions while you run around and show people. If there's something significant that you can see that's markedly different, please just point that out.
Sure. At this point, the Trebum, for instance, was a completely fixed skeletal mesh. It wasn't like able to mutate, except to like 2 or 3 mutations that were also done by hand. And the controls were much different. Like, it feels a lot floatier. The feet skate on the ground, and when you roll, it doesn't feel as nice. It's very primitive, but it was mostly just a sort of a technical prototype, just to see if we could pull off some things that we had in mind.
You can see there's no towers or like barriers at all.
And the cylinder is moving completely at a fixed rate. It doesn't react to anything, or so you can leave it pretty far behind easily.
Okay, so Beware of Jabberwock asks, what's your favorite animal design for the native creatures of the Trebum planet, not anything the cylinder brought with it?
I would have to say I really like the one of the creatures that some people have seen outside the beta, which is a sort of plant-like insect in the desert that grows out and tries to grab you. I had a really fun time implementing that one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. We have a post about that later. Yeah, that's scary. That's a scary one. A witness is asking, was there a name for the Trebums before you called them Trebums? Like back in this early build that you're showing, and you got to multitask now, right? Answer questions and run around. In this early build, were they called Trebums?
They were called Trebums from the earliest stages that I know of, at least. I'm going to launch another build because the earlier one crashed.
Okay, we'll wait for that one to come up. In the meantime, Blickball is asking, how do Trebum names work? Like in the game, you're kind of auto-assigned Trebum names. How does that work, I guess, technically, and how do you get that one?
I had to ask Edmundo about this because he was the one who made them. We have a pre-generated list in the game that's like over 1,000 possible names, and they were generated with an online tool that's called Awkwards. And basically what you do is you define what phonemes are valid in sort of like the language and how they can go together, and then Edmundo just generated a huge list of names and sort of picked out the best ones from there. So we don't have those rules at hand. We could probably get them, but yeah, we totally lost track of that, and we only have the fixed list now.
Nice. It should be noted for those who haven't played, you can certainly change Trebum name to whatever you'd like, but these are the ones that are auto-generated for you, just in case you just don't feel like naming. All right, so Lebus again, what is the scientific name for the Trebum? Like the Latin, some of them are Glossophardium polymorphium is Tonglogrop's actual long name. is there one for Trebum?
Yeah, I had to ask Carlos about this one. He had the notes written by Jonas, the writer, and the actual scientific name for the trebum is trebum trebum.
Nice. Okay, so what are you showing here? The controller and which build is this? Is this later
This is
or
the
earlier?
second build. This is the first content build. This one already has sort of the actual trebum made of different pieces, so we can switch them out to make all the mutations, and it already has like different skin patterns that you can see, not just a default one. But the controls are still pretty bad here. You can't pick up random stuff that's in the world, like these mushrooms. But you can see the art style has already changed. It's that the colors are much more similar to what you can see in the final game.
I remember playing some of the earlier ones. I think it was this one, and it was a lot like jerkier, and it's a lot smoother, and it's really nice to play now. And it was before it would kind of get my would get motion sick sometimes, but now it doesn't do that anymore. Do you have technical stuff like that you did to make that smoother and nicer?
Yeah, it's just a lot of tweaking and finding out why the different parts are not working as they should. I don't remember the exact changes that we made, but yeah, it was a lot of work to get it running smoothly.
Cool. Here's another one. If you could, Wallader asks, if you could be one creature in the game in real life, what would it be? This ranges from pouchfish to trebums to servants, anything in the game in real life. Okay.
I think I would be a trebum, because yeah, it's really fun. They can change into a lot of different forms. Really useful.
Yes. Think of all the lunches you could eat if you knew expanded inventory.
Yeah. Here you can see we started actually implementing some of the creatures. Like this is the Glick Ball, the first version of it. Had different colors, but its behavior is pretty much the same. But we didn't have, for instance, the water only interacts with the trebum right now, so the Glick Balls don't float. They just sink to the bottom. Oh, actually the trebum does too. I forgot.
Oh no!
There we have an Onkiford trying to kill me.
There we go. Are the elders different at all?
I think those beams of light were like gathering spots that would show you hints, things you can do. Trying to get there, yeah, it's kind of hard.
Does anything ever come out of their shells? I remember playing it and just waiting and waiting and waiting to see if there's a giant snail.
No. I think they're supposed to be fossils. Yeah, I think here in these early versions we had tried out like a mixing system. So you were supposed to mix different ingredients to acquire new mutations. But yeah, we found that was too difficult for people to just figure out different combinations, and it also made it a lot more tedious to actually mutate, which we found was one of the most fun elements in the game, so it had to be more accessible.
Gotcha. Were there any like elder caves or any of that at this point? Or is it all just kind of surface stuff?
At this point, I think there weren't. Yeah, I think in this build there aren't. Here you can see that text there, it says placeholder transition tile. It's basically we were experimenting with ways to change from one biome to another. So here's a really placeholder transition between the savanna and the ice biome, the tundra.
Meanwhile, the cylinder is still rolling very slowly after you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, here we realized here that if we had like this fixed speed, it would become way too boring. So we tried different ways to fix that. I can show it one of the ways that we tried in another build.
Yeah, cool. Noodle asked, how many save games can a player have at one time? I think it's just one, right?
Currently, what we do is we have only one save slot, but it can save up to 4 different states, which is the current checkpoint, the previous checkpoint, an autosave, and 1 manual save. We might change that. We might expand either the amount of manual saves you can make or the different slots you can make, but that will probably be left until after release.
Did time of day change at this point? I don't really remember.
Yeah, that was in pretty much from the beginning. Oh, I died, and Ankifor just fell on top of me. We didn't have much warning of the Ankifor. We didn't have a sound effect, or the camera didn't pan out, so yeah, it was pretty harsh. I'm gonna switch over to the next build now.
Here's one while you're doing that from SMJ James. Did the Trebums in the past do some sort of manipulatory trunk mutation, and is it available now? I'd imagine something similar to the end of an elephant's trunk, but more advanced. Perhaps they used a multi-trunk version.
We never implemented that in the game. At first, in the first builds, you could see that you had to actually grab an object and then eat it. You didn't have an inventory. The idea was always that the Trebon trunks were pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Dexterous, I think. You can grab stuff with it, and yeah, it's pretty much like an elephant's trunk. All of them are supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be like a specific mutation for that. Oh, there's one cool thing that I can show here from one of these early builds. So we had like a separate map where you could try all the different visual parts of mutations, at least. It's not, the mutations themselves weren't all implemented at this point, but you could easily see how varied you could get the Trebums to look. So yeah, I'm showing there some.
With this ring, I don't really remember you could choose like your starter skin at one point.
Oh, I don't think we did that. It was always sort of randomly selected, but we did keep this in to show people at trade shows and stuff all the variations that you could get inside the game.
Do you know how many randomized skins there are, or is there a fixed number, or does it just go on forever?
There is a fixed number. I'm not sure how many they are, but I would guess at least around 30. And they're biome specific, some of them at least. So it's a lot more likely that you can get specific ones in different biomes.
Witness asks, this is a silly question, but are the Trebums we play babies, or are they grown?
Yeah, I would say they're babies, yeah. They're newly born. So yeah, or maybe you could say toddlers. Oh, in this version we had like the first version of the intro cinematic. We didn't have the narrator at this point. And there's also no sound. This build, yeah, this is the first one where you have inventory and you can grab random stuff in the world.
Did the
Oh, camera.
Is the cylinder still moving at a fixed rate? And it doesn't look like it catches on fire at all.
Yeah, that came later. Yeah, at this point we didn't have that in. Here you can see like
James asked.
Sorry, go ahead.
They're asking if there's 1,000 names, how come I tend to get 50 recycled over and over? Aw.
Oh, I guess that's hard to explain. I guess randomness doesn't actually seem random to people. It's usually more of a perception issue. And the names are pretty similar. So yeah, within those 1,000 names you can there's not a whole lot of variation between them. So yeah, maybe it seems like it's only 50, but yeah, they're different. Oh, you can see here a version of the what's its name, the cleanser, and it has no animation, so it's not moving its arms.
Is it still trying to get you?
Yeah.
Yes. You move faster in these early builds. That's what they're asking Sammy to do. It's like asking if you just move generally faster.
In the previous build that I showed, we didn't have the rolling mode implemented because when we did the transition to the Trebum built in little pieces, we had to throw out the animations that we had for the early versions. So we had like a sprint that just made you walk faster, so it might have seemed that I was moving faster. But right now I think you're moving, I'm moving at pretty much the same speed as always. And we do have the actual rolling now, so yeah, it's pretty much like in the current builds. Oh, and here you can see the Zushgarg. And the Zushgarg sort of had a different function at this point. It was our first attempt of having like a natural barrier that kept you from straying too far from the cylinder. So it mostly doesn't pay any attention to you until you start getting really far from the cylinder. Sort of the logic behind it was that the Zushgarg is afraid of the cylinder, but it's trying to get any creature that is at a safe distance, basically, from the cylinder.
Gotcha. Oh, look, purple.
Oh yeah, the Onkiforts change color. There you can see the Tongal grub. They're pretty much the same as in the final builds.
You guys have more questions? Go ahead and chat. disable Linus. His attack is to vomit on you. That's good.
Oh, here you can see a familiar structure that's near the end of the beta, but here it just it would appear randomly in the world. At this
I'm
point,
going to move that here
sorry?
since apparently I'm quiet. Apparently I'm quiet, so that should help now that I'm facing the mic a little more while reading your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better, Jimas? Okay, cool. People are asking when it's coming out. Later this year. Seth ID 011. They're asking if Zugargs actively hunted you in this build rather than just patrolling then.
They did, as long as you were far away enough from the cylinder. Yeah, they were much more aggressive. This is sort of the first version of the first Elder Cave. So here you had this sort of dialogue. It's a lot different from what you see in the beta. We had no narrator, and it's telling you something entirely different.
Sparked Soul saying the game is very loud versus us talking.
The game is loud?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. The game is very loud and that we are quiet.
Okay. I'll turn it down a bit. Let's see there. Is that better?
Is that better, guys? Oh, wait a second.
Oh, the thing is though, if I... no, let me turn the
Better.
game down instead.
Instead of me.
Yeah. Let's see.
Can you do that in the early builds? I wonder.
Not from inside the game, but yeah, I can do it through the volume mixer on Windows. Let's try now. Is that better?
Okay, hopefully that works, guys. And I'll speak up too. Okay, cool. Thumbs up. Yay.
Okay, so as I was saying, this was sort of the early version of the Elder Cave. We didn't have the narrator, and it just told you some random recipe for a mutation. So it's sort of a mix between what you could find in the shrines and the actual Elder Caves. And I think you can't exit from this. Yeah, I think there's no way to go out from inside the game.
Oh no, you're locked in the cave.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move on to the next one, I think.
Okay, cool. Blue Critter Games is complimenting you on the fact that the Trebhum feet touch the ground even in very rough territory. How is that done?
Sure, that's done with what's called inverse kinematics, IK. That's just, it's basically just trying to find the closest point on the ground where where the feet would touch, and then sort of adjusting the bones on the legs so the feet match the position.
Ooh, 3.4 says Eternal, finally.
Yeah, yeah, this one says Eternal. Yeah, so here you can see the intro cinematic was a bit more polished. The Trebhum looked nicer, and there's like this sort of fog effect. There's some sounds.
Does the trebum you see in the egg reflect the trebum that you actually play with? So you're seeing it at the beginning, or is it just always the same intro?
It's all of the trebum there are randomized, and the one that's focused on is the one that you start with.
Still no narrator, correct?
Yeah. I think.
Eggs.
Yeah. Yeah, here we started adding some basic tutorials, and the water is much more interactive, has a better shader.
What's the bit on the bottom right?
The bottom right was a selector for mutations. That was sort of merged into the water slot later on. And here we didn't have that animation at the beginning where there's a lot of, what's their name? Oh, I forget. Well, the little grasshopper things. Hop-ups, yeah. Yeah, so we had a basic version here of the animation to mutate. One thing you can notice at this point is that there's like an orange bar, circular bar going down the mutation at the right bottom. That's because at this point, if you had a mutation that was from a more advanced part of the game, it was only available to you for a limited time. That we ended up removing that from the game because it was too annoying. People obviously would want to keep their mutations because it also gives the trebums more individuality. There you can see the first version of the animation, the physical animation for the towers destroying. That was a lot of work from our technical team. It went into developing the tools for that. Yeah, we still didn't have the dead elder at the beginning here, so we just had this sort of basic hint that you should look for more trebum. Whoops.
Yes, SMJ James, that he was explaining that they were temporary mutations, and that's counting down, I think, on the circle. Is that so on the right? They're asking why it's orange.
You can also see here that we didn't have that sort of tunnel inside the towers. So once you activated them, you could easily get squashed by the cylinder, and yeah, we figured out that we needed an easy way for you to activate it and then go through without getting killed. I think this was the first one that had sort of a rough sketch of this tutorial area where you have to figure out that you need 3 trebums to go through the door.
There's no celestial Chwala there.
Oh, there is, but it's different. It doesn't have like the huge crystals on top of its head.
Oh, there it is. You're showing us. Are Trebham homes called Treb huts?
That would be a pretty cool name for it, I guess. You can also see here that the toxic fumes in the canyons was purple instead of green.
Could you switch Trebhams in your herd at this point?
I think you could, yeah, you can, but you can only do this sort of switch to next. It wasn't very specific. You couldn't pick a specific Trebham either by looking at it or hovering with a cursor or something. So it's a bit more random which one you would select. There was another thing at this point that we ended up removing from the game, this formation wheel. There was the idea that you could use different formations of Trebhams for different purposes. Like there was an idea that you could sort of put your Trebham in a line, and they would scare predators that way somehow. But yeah, we ended up deciding that it was too complicated for most users and too sort of tedious, and it would be better for the Trebham to just try to figure out the best way to stand around you from context. Yeah, so as you can see, the Elder Cave now is a lot more close to what we have now. But it's still pretty bare. And there was no puzzle to get to the Elder. It was just a simple interactive area. But I think now the dialogue is a lot closer to what's actually in the final build. And this is the first version of the mutation tree screen, which actually isn't available in the beta because it gets unlocked further in the game. But it is sort of similar to this, except it's not so much a rigid tree structure now.
You're commenting on the organs and bones of the mutation tree.
Oh yeah.
Icon.
The idea there was that those icons would represent the different stats that you could upgrade in the shrines, like the health and stamina and stuff like that.
Oh look, the cylinder's on fire now.
Yeah, I think this is the first version where it has that behavior. But I think at this point it just didn't have any more predetermined content, so it was just fully sandbox. I think I can't see any more towers from this point on, so I think that it's just fully procedural. And you can see the Great Gar there in the distance. So I think we were starting to work on the desert biome. There was like random events that could happen, like that meteor shower just now.
They're asking what shot the meteors.
I think it was just a random event. They fell out of the sky. Oh, I can't seem to get out.
Encoderm asks if random events like that are still in the final game, like meteor showers.
Yeah, there are some events like that, but they are more localized. I think I can see some towers in the distance there.
This is back before map days, correct?
Yeah, the map is actually quite recent. I think we implemented the map maybe a month or two before beta.
Oh, Frozen Scala.
Yeah. At this point in the cold, you could only move like really slowly, so it was pretty dangerous to go there, unless you found the fur mutation.
Zugarg is really aggressive right now.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, when you stray far from the cylinder, the Zugarg is really aggressive. It gave you like a single warning where it would grab you up but not eat you, and then the next time it grabs you, it always eats you. Yeah, so I can't go too far without it having it kill me. Although I could use some cheats and just fly out really quickly.
Best part, cheats.
Yeah. At this point in the game, all of it, aside from the start area, would be totally procedural. So we had these sort of infinite rows of towers, because you could basically just go anywhere horizontally if you managed to escape the cylinder on time, which at this point was pretty easy because it didn't ever get as aggressive as it does now. And the idea was the game would sort of adapt and place story important content depending on where you went. But we ended up having to move away from that sort of logic because people tended to get too lost. They didn't know where they had to go. Even though the idea was the game would always put stuff where you had to go. I mean, wherever you went, the game would adapt, but yeah, people didn't seem to get it.
Blue Critter Games asks, how large is the procedural generated part in comparison to the handcrafted part? Balance.
Right now, I would say it's pretty much 50-50, yeah.
Yes, guys, we are not endorsing cheating in the beta. We're just trying to show you the early builds.
Oops.
If you find yourself running through the sky, you have a problem.
Yep. Well, that's a good point to switch over to a different. Oh, I forgot. In this version, whenever you lost all your trebums, it would just randomly pick out a new egg and have you start from there. But yeah, it didn't work very well. I got stuck. So yeah, I'm just dying again. Yeah, I'll show the last build, which is one that we took to GDC 2019. Let's start from the peninsula that's after the first Elder Cave.
It was not easy to leave the cave, but the Elder had urged them to go forward.
Yeah, this is the point, I think, where the narrator came in. And you can see the sort of boundary, the safe boundary around the anchor towers was not at all similar. It's very different.
The cylinder resumed its destruction. They needed to roll to safety and find another tower to protect them quickly.
Looks like everything is the proper color now. Green from purple.
Yeah, I think stuff changed a bit from here. But I think the Onkiforts were still purple at this point. And yeah, the toxic gas is still purple. And I think there's like a special event here.
Yeah, the underground portal. It's neat that the towers have those platforms. Recall them.
Yeah, the idea of the platforms on the towers was that you could climb them with the floating mutation. So that ended up getting replaced with the geysers.
Early mathematician stuff.
This part of the game was removed from this section in the beta, but it's actually been moved further along, so this is sort of a sneak peek of a part of the game that people haven't seen yet, but in a much rougher state. Yeah, At this point, we also had the idea that the yellow light would take away your mutation, so that's where I lost everything.
The dandelions seem a lot fluffier in this one. Like they're blowing everywhere.
Oh, that's something special I think they did for this section of the game, and I think it's still in the current build. Yeah, but this was sort of a puzzle where you have to find a way to protect one of your mutations from the yellow light by mixing some ingredients. I think one of them was the yolk from the egg. I don't remember if the game had any sort of instruction regarding that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and at this point you couldn't open the eggs in any other way other than feeding them to the omnigram. I think you had to mix this something. Yeah, so there I mixed the egg yolk from the Ankifer with a dandelion, and that gives me a sort of protected version of the... Oh no, it didn't work. That's weird. It was supposed to protect me from the yellow light. And yeah, I guess it was broken at this point. That's a bit embarrassing.
Blue Critter Games says the AI for the different animals is amazingly lifelike. Very different kinds of interactions. Is there a random factor in the behavior or how do their interactions work?
I guess there's some random factors in the creature AI, but it's mostly just that they're actually built separately. Like we share some common elements between the AI for different creatures, but we specifically made each one of them different in behavior, so they would feel more unique. And yeah, they have some interactions where they will try to eat other creatures, and yeah, sort of a predator-prey relationship.
SMJ James is saying the dandelions look really big. Are the trebums smaller in this earlier build, or are these all the same size? This is just really special.
Well, I think they're the same size. Sorry, I'm being told the game again is too loud, so I'm gonna take it down again. That should be better.
That umbrella effect is kind of neat, with the tower shooting it out the top there.
Oh, that? Yeah.
Oh, like behind you, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why we ended up removing that. Yeah, I kind of like it. Anyway, I seem to be stuck here. Oh, wait. Oh, I know why it didn't work. Yeah. Basically, the game was assuming that I would go into this shrine before entering that platform, and that's why that platform is now moved to another point.
Cheats, not glitches, guys.
Yeah, this is sort of an early version of the shrines. And you can get special recipes from sort of recordings of other tribums. Yeah, that's what happened. I needed to have the recipe first. Oh, I can get the third eye.
Nice. Yeah, so you guys can see this is what happens when you play things and you give us feedback, then they change. So
Yeah.
someone played that and said, I don't know how to do this. Don't have the recipe. That's why it's changed and differently placed and all that stuff. So F8's really important. So later on when you play the game, let us know in F8. Spinning virus animation. What's up with that? That's what they said. I guess in the compendium there. The circle was spinning on the right-hand side.
Oh yeah, and the mutation tree. I think that's been changed. Yeah, it looks kind of like a coronavirus.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I'll try doing this puzzle once more. Stealing the Aquifer egg here.
I love how she's just like la 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 la.
Yeah, I think they were a bit dumb in this in this build. Oh. Yeah, the Omnigram wasn't that dumb. Yeah, so the recipe was actually the egg and 4 of these mushrooms. So yeah, I had to mix those. No, that's weird. It still didn't work. Strange. Well, yeah, it's a very
nearly
early
out of
version. Yeah.
There you go. They don't have to all work. Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, seeing some early flashback, versions of the game. Have Danielle show you all the differences between how it's evolved over time.
Yeah, if there's
Any last
interest of seeing any other of these builds, we have some more that we could show on another stream.
Nice. I think these are all still pretty polished. I was expecting a lot jankier builds, to be honest, Danielle.
Yeah, I guess it would have been more fun to comment on.
No, it just shows you guys are on top of things. Even your early stuff is still pretty good looking. Okay, so it's very fun to see the various stages of the game. Thanks, Gearshorn. So everyone who enjoyed this, hopefully you will join the Discord where we have a discussion going on about your favorite mutations that you've played before, that you imagine and want to know more about. Is the Discord invite. And later on this year, pick up the Eternal Cylinder. We have streams every other Friday, so another second Friday from now, we'll have another one. And let us know what you want to see in the streams. All right, here it comes. You're just gonna let him die. Is that how we'll end the stream?
Oh no, I activated the tower. So
Oh, you did?
I'm safe.
Destruction of tribes. Nice. Okay. Here you go.
Okay. Well. So do we end it here then?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you for showing everyone. That was very educational and fun.
yeah. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.